who are too much into science, because you want a theory for everything. We want an answer for everything. Yeah, but how come? You go into the air in an aeroplane, you go 30,000 feet up in the air, and if you don't have oxygen in the cabin, you die. So how did the Prophet ﷺ, you go into the air? So you have people who are, so-called educated people, modern educated people who will ask you these kind of questions. How come that is impossible? Why? Because we are judging with our minds, and our minds are very, very small. We have a limit to where we can think. And Allah Ta'ala doesn't have any limits. And in the verse, Subhanalladhi asra bi'abdihi, it says that Allah is the one who took his bondsman. Allah is the one who took the Prophet ﷺ. So here we can find the shaitan, that, oh shaitan, Allah Azza wa Jal, inna Allah ala kulli shay'in qadir. Allah has power over everything. If he wants, he can take the Prophet ﷺ. You don't need no oxygen, you don't need no masks. Sayyidina Isa ﷺ, when he was taken into the heavens, when Bani Israel came to martyr Sayyidina Isa ﷺ, what happened at that time? There wasn't that the angels, they came and they bought masks and all tubing and everything, we're going to take you into the heavens. No, when the command of Allah was there, Inna Allah ala kulli shayin qadir, Allah Azza wa Jal took Isa ﷺ into the heavens. And if he can take Isa ﷺ, why can't he not take the Prophet ﷺ? Now here there is another debate. The shaitan, he will whisper this in your mind as well, that was the Miraj the soul, or was it a dream, or was it the whole body? And the biggest commentator of the Holy Quran, the Mufassir of the Quran, Sayyidina Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he says, he was asked that question. And he was asked the question, did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam go with the body and the soul? Was it a dream, or was it just the soul? And Sayyidina Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and even in a place, Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, they all mentioned this, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam went with his body and his soul. So it was the body and the soul. Who protected him? Allah Ta'ala protected him. So with all the atmosphere and all that, there wasn't no problem, because Allah is the one who created atmosphere, and Allah Azza wa Jalla is the one who will look after the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And what did the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam saw on the night of Miraj? He says in one hadith, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he says that on the night of Miraj, I saw the guardian angel of the fire of hell, and I also saw the Dajjal as well. And I met with Musa alayhi salam. So where did Musa alayhi salam be? He was in the world, in the grave, reading his namaz, and then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam met him in Jerusalem. Musa alayhi salam read namaz behind the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then Musa alayhi salatu wasalam was in the seventh heaven. He met the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam there as well. So that also proves that if a Prophet of Allah, he can be in many places at one time. That is why they say that the Aqidah of the Ahl Sunnah, alhamdulillah, is such a beautiful Aqidah, that every person who dies, and the third question, which is inside the grave, مَا كُنْتَ تَقُولُ فِي حَقِّ هَذَا الرَّجُلِ, what did you used to say about this person? And he says that even though millions of people die at the same time, the same day, the Prophet ﷺ has been given that power, that he can be in every grave at the same time in a split second. He can be there. Alhamdulillah. Why? Because it's proven. If Musa alayhi salam can be in three places at the same time, then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Someone might say, well, Musa alayhi salam is the Prophet of Allah, and it says that Allah Azza wa Jalla, he says inside the Holy Quran, تِلْكَ الرُّسُلُ فَضَّلْنَا بَعْدَهُمْ عَلَى بَعْدٍ. All the Prophets of Allah, they have their own status. They have their own status in the court of Allah. And Musa ﷺ was given a very, very big status as well, because he is known as Kalimullah, the one who talked to Allah Azza wa Jalla. And he says that when Musa ﷺ, and when you talk about the vision, the power Allah Ta'ala gave the Prophet ﷺ to see his vision, at the time when Musa ﷺ was on Mount Tur, he says, Ya Allah, I've talked to you as well. Ya Allah, bless me with your vision. Bless me with your vision. I want to see you. And he says, Allah Azza wa Jalla, he says, O Musa, لَن تَرَانِي وَلَكِنْ انظُرْ إِلَى الْجَبَلِ. Look at that mountain. And if you can look at that mountain, and you can look at my mercy and that light, my nur on the mountain, if you can withstand that, then you'll be able to see me as well. And what happened? Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, he could not see the nur of Allah on that mountain, and he fainted. But look at the power of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He has seen Allah not once, But Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu and Sayyidina Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, both of them, they have said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw Allah not once but twice. Once with the eyes of his head and then one eyes of the heart as well. He saw Allah Ta'ala twice. Imagine, that shows you how much power. That is why when the ulama kiram, they say that all the miracles of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all the miracles of all the other prophets of Allah on one side, and one miracle of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam on one side, it is still heavier. All the miracles which were given to all these prophets of Allah were also all given to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yet no one was given the miracle of Mi'raj apart from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In one place, it says that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he met with the tribe of Yajuj Majuj. These are the tribe, these are one of the greatest signs of the Day of Judgment. The tribe of Yajuj Majuj, Allah Azza wa Jalla, He mentions them inside the Holy Quran, that near to the Day of Judgment, this tribe is blocked in walls, and so many walls, and they will not be able to get out of that until near to the Day of Judgment. And it says that the Yajuj Majuj, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he saw them, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, I went and I invited the tribe of Yajuj Majuj into Islam. I gave them neki ki da'wat. SubhanAllah. He's on a Mi'raj and he's also giving neki ki da'wat as well. And he invited Yajuj Majuj to come into Islam, and they sadly, they declined. And the Prophet ﷺ, he says that Yajuj Majuj, they will burn in the fire of hell with Fir'aun and other people as well. Another thing which the Prophet ﷺ saw on Mi'raj, he says that I went past a very huge Jama'at gathering, loads of millions and millions of people I saw. And I asked, who are these people? And Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salatu was salam, he says, O Prophet of Allah, that is the tribe of Musa alayhi salam. That is the ummah of Musa alayhi salam. And there were so many of them. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was surprised to see a lot of, ummatis of Musa alayhi salam. And then Jibreel alayhi salatu was salam, he says, O Prophet of Allah, look up there. Asman ki taraf nazar uthaye, and he saw that from one end of the heavens to the other end of the heaven, there were billions of people. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was told, O Prophet of Allah, this is your ummah. This is your ummah. And that there were more, there's so many millions of times more than the ummah of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. In another place, my dear Islam brothers, one thing like I said, the journey of Mi'raj was a journey where we can learn loads of lessons. In one place, the Prophet ﷺ, he saw a group of people who were eating dead meat, raw meat. And the Prophet ﷺ, he inquired of Jibreel, who are these people and why are they eating that meat raw? And Jibreel ﷺ, he says, O Prophet of Allah, these are those people who used to backbite in the world. These are the people, and this is their punishment. They are eating raw meat, dead meat they are. So my dear Islam brothers, Ghibat, iske khilaf to alhamdulillah Madani channel par jang hai. And this is what we need to do as well. So much, he says that at one time when people used to backbite, their face, their mouth used to stink, and people would realize and recognize that these people are backbiters. Today, because it's so common today, that is why people don't realize or don't think that these people are backbiting. Now, after the Prophet ﷺ, he met with many different prophets of Allah. When the journey was continuing, in the first heaven, he met with Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam. In the second heaven, he met with all these prophets of Allah, Harun alayhi salam, Ibrahim alayhi salam. So on all these prophets of Allah, and he met with all of them. And on the seventh heaven, he met with Sayyidina Musa alayhi salatu was salam. And when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he went and he saw the vision of Allah, it says that at that time, Allah Azza wa Jal, he gave a gift to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that gift, as we all know, was the gift of namaz. 50 times. 50 namaz. And then when the Prophet ﷺ was coming back, he met Musa ﷺ, who asked him, O Prophet of Allah, and it says the ulama kiram, they mention here, that why did Musa ﷺ try to stop the Prophet ﷺ all the time? It wasn't he wanted to ask him, he was looking into the eyes of the Prophet ﷺ so that he could see the vision of Allah as well. SubhanAllah. And he says that when Musa ﷺ, he asked the Prophet ﷺ, what did Allah Ta'ala give you for your ummah? And he says that Allah Ta'ala has blessed me with 50 some salah, 50 namaz for my ummah. And he said, why namaz? In namaz, the farais of namaz, the takbir tahrima,